What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome back to my horror movie decade series, where we go through each decade and give you the 30 best horror movies of said decade. We've done the 70s, we've done the 80s, we've done the 90s, and yesterday we did the 2000s. So today, we're here giving you the 2010s. And I told you last time that the 2000s was my favorite decade that we had gone through. This was the hardest one. I'm going to tell you, my top 15, they could all be switched around in any which order, and it would still be a good list. My top 15 was stacked, and they're all around the same quality. So this was the hardest list I've had to do so far. Who knows what's going to happen with the 2020s list, but this was the hardest one I've had to do. So let's dive in. Starting off with number 30, I think this is a bit of a hot take. I am seeing now that people actually don't like this film. I thought it was like a universally loved movie. I love it. It's Unfriended. Unfriended has been getting some hate, and I don't understand why. It's a perfectly passable found footage film. If you're not into horror, like, it's a perfectly okay horror movie. If you're not into found footage, it's a perfectly okay found footage movie. Like, I don't get why people hate this movie. I love it, but even if you don't love it, I don't see how you could hate it. It's perfectly fine. It is about these people, this group of friends, on a Zoom call who is being haunted by the spirit of one of their classmates who... So they're getting haunted by them and slowly getting picked off by this, demon or ghost, whatever it is. I don't know what. I never know the difference between the two. But I think it's a ghost in this case. And it all takes place on like a Zoom, or is it a Skype call? I don't know. But either way, like a FaceTime video call. And it's really creative the way that is all set up, the way that you can, see what's going on their computer and stuff. But yeah, like, I really, really like it. I think there is some very scary moments. You're meant to hate the characters. You can hate the characters and it still be a good movie. The main girl, you're meant to despise. She is supposed to be a terrible person that you hate, okay? And also, the acting in this movie is good. It's the acting. People think the acting is bad because they're not acting. They're just talking like realistic people. I don't get why people hate this film so much. Like, obviously, it's not one of my all-time favorites. It is still at my number 30, but I love it. Coming in at number 29, we have a Netflix original horror movie. I didn't think we would have any of those on this list, but we have one, and that is The Babysitter. I think one of the main reasons why I love this so much is because I absolutely adore Samara Weaving in almost everything she's in. Actually, no, I adore her in everything she's in, but sometimes the movie around her isn't that good. Looking at you, borderline. But yeah, this is a very fun movie. A lot of the humor really works for me here. There's some very gnarly kills in here, some pretty good performances. As I said, Samara Weaving, fantastic. Some of the side characters around her I did not care for, like Bella Thorne's character I hated. King Bach's character was fine, I guess. But and then the like jock guy I hated as well. So some of the side characters around her in her friend group I don't love, but I love her, and I love the main kid and his love interest and the gory, gnarly kills. And like, for a Netflix movie, it is pretty damn good. Coming in at number 28, we have Unfriended again. This time it's Unfriended Dark Web. I do think Unfriended 2 is slightly better than the original Unfriended. I know a lot of people agree with me, which is shocking. I thought this was a hot take, but I've seen that, yeah, people actually agree with this. People don't like the original, and a lot of people like Part 2. And I think Part 2 is scarier because it's not supernatural. It is, I guess it might be a little bit, but I think it's more like hacking, because it's more about the dark web and the horrors of the internet. Like, somebody gets swatted in this movie and they get, gunned down by the police, which is a horrific, horrific scene. There's a lot of scary internet stuff. Like, there's a couple of scenes where he's like going through the dark web that has some very good tension. It's very creepy and eerie. So yeah, I do think it is better than the original Unfriended, and I also think it is a lot scarier. This is one of the few horror films that has genuinely freaked me out a little bit because of how realistic it is and how much the internet can be scary and how much people rely on the internet nowadays. So I really like Unfriended Dark Web even more than the original. Coming in at number 27, a franchise that I am not the biggest fan of, but there's two that I actually really, really like. Number 27, I have the original Insidious. Like I said, don't care for the franchise. Most of the movies I think are forgettable or bad. But the original is pretty dang good. I think this is another one of the few movies that has actually scared me. There's some really good jump scares in here. Obviously, the iconic one with Lipstick Face Demon behind Patrick Wilson. That's a terrifying one. I think the tiptoe through the tulip scene is terrifying. I think the where they go into, like, is it called the further or whatever? The other side, wherever they're going into, I think there is some scary visuals in there with the lipstick face demon and the bride. So I think it's a pretty scary movie, a little bit basic as far as like supernatural stuff goes. It kind of feels like you take The Conjuring, which I know came out after, you take The Conjuring and the and Poltergeist and you mix them together and you get Insidious. It just feels like a very basic plot, but it's executed really well. The performances are good, and yeah, it's pretty dang scary. Coming in just above that at number 26 is the other Insidious film that I really enjoy, and that is Insidious Chapter 3. Yes, I think Insidious Chapter 3 is the best of the Insidious franchise because I think it is not only the scariest, but it has the best emotional core to it because of the performance by the leading actress. I think she does amazing, and her relationship with her dad is very heartfelt, and I love to see that. But also, this is one of the few horror movies I can remember in recent years where it actually had me holding my breath at some scenes. There was a couple of sequences that genuinely freaked me out. The jump scares are good, and one of my main complaints with the Insidious franchise as a whole is that whenever there's a jump scare, it's backed by some loud noise, like a loud bang or a loud music cue, and it just makes you jump because that's what happens when loud noises randomly come into your ears. So it feels really cheap. But in this one, I think the jump scares are actually well executed and well built up to be actually scary. So I do think Insidious Chapter 3 is the scariest of the Insidious franchise and my personal favorite. Coming in at number 25, we have one that might be a lot higher on some people's list, but I have never been the highest on this movie, but I still think it is very good. We have It Follows. Obviously, the social commentary is amazing, and people really like to point that out. But the social commentary with me for most films doesn't really do anything. I'm gonna be honest. Usually, I don't pick up on it because I'm not very bright. But if I do, it doesn't usually affect how much I like the movie. Sometimes it's really clever and unique, and I really like that, but in this film it didn't really do anything for me. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I get it, and it's fine. It adds to the film a little bit, but I think this one also has some very scary scenes. I think there's a specific jump scare in here that I won't spoil that is fantastic. I think the performances are amazing, especially from the main actress whose name is escaping me right now, but she's amazing. I think the entity is actually a very terrifying horror villain, the way that they just slowly walk at you. It's kind of like that immortal snail thing that people that like blew up on Reddit and everything, where it's like, would you rather I don't remember what it was, but it was like you live forever, but if a snail catches up to you where it's just like slowly moving towards you at all times, that's what it feels like in It Follows. And I love It Follows, but like I said, I'm not as high on it as everybody else on the earth is, but I still think it's pretty good. Number 24, we have a remake of a film that was on one of my previous lists. It was on my 70s list. It is Carrie. I have Carrie 2013 at my number 24. I have all four Carrie films on their respective lists. Carrie made by 70s one, The Rage Carrie 2 made by 90s one, Carrie 2002 made by 2000s one, and now Carrie 2013 is making my 2010's one, because this one I'd say is probably my second favorite Carrie movie. I love it because it takes the original Carrie, which is a story that I absolutely adore. Like I said, it's my ninth favorite horror movie of all time, I'd say. It's amazing. Great characters, great performances, all that. It takes that and it makes it more modern, which makes it more scary to me because in the original, obviously, Carrie is humiliated by her classmates when she gets her period in the locker room, and they laugh at her, and they chant, and they throw stuff at her. But in this movie, it is 10,000 times worse, because not only do they do exactly what I just said they did in the original, but they record it and post it online, which is extremely realistic and prescient for the times, because that's usually how people get humiliated nowadays, is by getting posted online. And it's so horrific when it happens because she's not even online, so she can't even see all the horrible things people are saying about her, which just makes it feel all the more gross and makes you want her to kill these kids even more, which makes it even more satisfying when at the end she does. So I think just a modernized version of Carrie actually works extremely well for me. Most people, this is their least favorite version of Carrie, but for me, it's my second favorite. Like, it makes it so much better setting it in modern times because it makes it so much more prescient and so much more scary because, like I said, getting posted online means not only are her classmates seeing it, anyone else in the world who wants to can. So I love Carrie 2013, and like I said, it is my second favorite Carrie film and my 24th favorite film of the 2010s. Number 23. This one's not a very good movie. I think a lot of people like it, but it's not a very good movie. The reason it's this high on the list and on the list at all is because we wouldn't be here without this film. Okay, I always say Freddy vs. Jason is the film that made me a horror fan, but As Above, So Below is the first horror movie I ever watched. This is what set the groundwork. I watched As Above, So Below, and I wasn't scared by it that much, but I enjoyed myself. I loved the hell out of it, and that led me to finding Freddy vs. Jason, which then I was like, yes, horror is my thing. I love it. But we wouldn't have it without As Above, So Below. So like I said, on rewatch, it's not the best film ever, but I still really, really like it. I think it is still a great movie. I don't care if you don't. Like I said, it means so much to me personally. It's one of my favorite films of all time. So yes, As Above, So Below is taking the 22nd spot. Coming in at number 22, I have a horror comedy that a lot of people really, really love, and I just like it. Cabin in the Woods. Like I said with Shaun of the Dead on my last list, I prefer my horror comedies when they're more evenly split, when it's horror and comedy 50-50. This one feels like it's a little bit more comedy, a little bit, playing off of the tropes, a little bit more meta. But I do think this one's a better, more even split of horror and comedy because there's some genuine horror stuff in here and there's some genuine comedy stuff in both sides of the story. So I really like Cabin in the Woods. I think it is funny, and I think it has some actually scary moments, some good kills in here. I think it's fun as hell. There's some plot holes in here that don't make the most sense to me, like why would they have a giant red button, pretty much, to release all of the monsters? That doesn't make a lick of sense to me, but it leads to one of the best scenes of the film, so I guess, whatever. But yeah, Cabin in the Woods is a great movie, but horror comedies just aren't really my thing, so 22 is where it's going to land. Coming in at number 21, we have another horror comedy, but this one actually really works for me because I love the director Christopher Landon, and that is Happy Death Day. Now, I do not have Happy Death Day 2 on here, but that is a pretty decent follow-up to this film. I just feel like they over-explained it. That one wasn't the best. Happy Death Day is fantastic, though. It is obviously Groundhog's Day, but horror. So, Bill Murray, he would just go, his day would keep resetting. But in this one, her day keeps resetting every time she gets killed. So if she can survive through the day and make it to morning, then then it's over. And so the whole time is her, figuring out who's the killer and how to survive the killer. So you get a pretty good killer reveal in here, some pretty funny scenes with the like montages in the middle. Some pretty good kills. It's PG-13, so there aren't like super gory kills. So, they're good kills for a PG-13 film. I think Jessica Roth does very good as Tree, and her whole story, character arc really works for me. There's some pretty good emotional scenes in here, like most Christopher Landon films, so I really like Happy Death Day, and it's a shame I had to leave it off my top 20 because I really like it. Coming in at number 20, we have the second best Halloween film we have ever gotten, and that is Halloween 2018. Halloween 2018, for me, used to be like bordering on my favorite. Now John Carpenter's Halloween is like my clear favorite of the series, but now I still think this is a clear number 2. I'm not the biggest fan of the Halloween series, if you guys don't know. Friday the 13th is my series, so Halloween just never really interested me that much because the series are so similar. I just always go to Friday the 13th. But if I'm going to go for a Halloween movie, it's the original. But if I'm going for one of the sequels, it's 2018 every single time. Number 19 is going to be one of the other films that has genuinely scared me. This one, actually, I was watching with the lights off, and usually I watch horror movies all the time with the lights off because I'm a psycho. But this movie made me turn the lights back on because that clown doll genuinely scared the shit out of me. Hell House LLC. I just put this movie on because I saw that Dead Meat did a kill count on it, and I was like, okay, yeah. So I think it was around the time the kill count came out, because I saw the kill count came out. I was like, okay, I'll throw it on so I can watch the kill count. And I threw it on, and it scared the shit out of me. That clown doll, and all of its like moving around and looking at people, genuinely scared the shit out of me. And like I said, I usually am fine watching horror movies in the dark. I mean, I've seen more horror movies than I can count in my basement in the dark. This is one of the few that's actually made me turn the lights back on, so I gotta give respect to that. Number 18, I have a film that a lot of people don't love, but maybe it's just because the main actress, and because I absolutely love Elizabeth Olsen. I don't know if you can tell, actually you can't really see most of it, but Scarlet Witch stuff all behind me. I love Elizabeth Olsen, so I love Silent House. If you have not seen Silent House, give it a shot because I absolutely love it. Don't look at its cinema score. It got a F on cinema score. That's complete bullshit. I can understand if you don't like the film, because it's not the most well-made thing of all time, but an F on cinema score is absolute bullshit. I really, really like this film. I like the hidden themes and messages. I like the reveal at the end. I love Elizabeth Olsen's performance. I think it's one of the most underrated horror movies of the 2010s. So if you have not seen Silent House, I cannot recommend you give it a shot enough. It's one of my favorites of the 2010s. It's amazing. Number 17, we have the first Paranormal Activity movie on this list that you will see, and I will spoil it for you. It will not be the last, because I love these Paranormal Activity sequels. Obviously, the original was on the 2000's list, but the sequels all land on this one. So Paranormal Activity 2 is our first Paranormal Activity sequel, and my number 17. I think it does pretty good at matching the quality of the original for most of it, but that's also kind of the problem, is that they don't do enough new from the original to make it stand out as one of the best sequels of the series. So I'd say it's probably like my fourth favorite Paranormal Activity film, but that's not saying I don't like it. Obviously, it's on my top 30. I like the movie. It's good. It is a good Paranormal Activity movie that I will always happily rewatch. I think there are some very scary scenes in here. I think the jump scare where the cabinets explode open is terrifying. I think a lot of the like security camera style footage is pretty terrifying. I think the ending is very cool, the way it wraps back around to the first film. So yeah, I love Paranormal Activity 2. It's just when it comes down to which Paranormal Activity sequels I prefer, this one is not one of my favorites. Coming in at number 16, I have a film that most people would probably have in their top 5 that I really enjoy, but it's not up there quite that high. It is at my number 16. It's Jordan Peele's Get Out. Get Out is by far my favorite Jordan Peele film. I didn't mind Nope. Us, I really liked when I first watched it, but now I kind of, only see all the plot holes in it. So, I really, really like Get Out. I think it's terrifying. Well, not even terrifying. Things are happening on screen. It's just good at making you feel uncomfortable for this character. Daniel Kaluuya is amazing as Chris, I believe is his name. I think all of the actors in this do fantastic. All the actors and actresses play their roles perfectly. The directing by Jordan Peele is amazing. I think it's a fantastic debut film. I just hope that he goes back to more movies like this where the hidden themes and messages aren't what he's focused on, because in this it feels like they have the themes, they have the messages, but they also have a very, very good film around it. And I feel like in the most recent two, he focuses way too heavily on the themes and forgets that he has to make a functioning film around it. So I hope he goes back to making films like this for whatever his fourth project is going to be, because Get Out is really damn good. Starting off our top 15, we have A Quiet Place. I really like A Quiet Place. It used to be probably like in my top 50 horror movies of all time. I don't know if it's quite that high anymore. I still really, really like it. But I don't think I like it that much. I think the performances from John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are fantastic, and all the kids, I think, do great in this as well. I think the tension is very, very good. The way that they use the silence to really build tension, which makes it super jarring when something loud finally does happen, where it makes you jump just as much as the characters, because the entire film has been silent, essentially, until you get to that final act where they're finally making noise, and John Krasinski is screaming to sacrifice himself. The opening scene is a gut-wrenching scene in horror movies, like one of the best modern opening scenes for a horror movie. It's just so heartbreaking, and then you get that heartbreaking moment at the end when, like I said, John Krasinski sacrifices himself for his kids. So I really like A Quiet Place. I did not care for either of the sequels, so hopefully they either stop the franchise or start making better movies, because this is a very, very good concept that I think you could do a lot with. Number 14, this is where it got impossible. I love all of these movies. I don't know how. I love my number 14, and I wanted to have it in my top 10, but there's just too many movies that I love. So number 14, Train to Busan. I had to just go by, which films do I have the most issues with? And I don't really have that many issues with this movie, but there's a couple characters, a couple of scenes that don't work for me perfectly in this film, so unfortunately that knocked it down to 14. I still really, really like it. I think it's one of the best zombie movies we have gotten in recent years. It is amazing. The characters are amazing. The main character is really good. His whole character arc is fantastic. I love the little girl. I love all of the characters in this. I think it is one of the most underrated zombie movies of all time. It's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. You're going to have to watch it with subtitles because it's a foreign film, but just please give it a shot because this movie is amazing. Coming in at number 13, I think on my Conjuring ranking, I said this was my number 1, but I go back and forth on which one I like more all the time. Right now, I do have The Conjuring 2 at number 13, which, yes, you will see the original Conjuring higher on the list. Like I said, I go back and forth on which one I like more. It just depends on whatever mood I'm in that day. I love The Crooked Man. He's a fantastic villain in here. Valak is terrifying. I love Ed and Lorraine in this. I think they're arguably better in this movie than they are in the original, but I do think the original has this movie on scares. I think the family that they're focusing on is great in this movie as well, and the whole, is it real, is it not real thing, and the way that the demon kind of makes her look like it's not real so that the priests and stuff will get out of the house. So I really, really like The Conjuring 2, and I think it's one of the best modern haunted house movies, but I do think the original is better, and it's 12 of their films from the 2010s are better. So I really like it, but unfortunately it has to fall to 13. Number 12. I love this film, okay? I love it, but it's not one of my all-time favorites. So unfortunately, 12 is where it ended up. We have the sequel to The Shining, Doctor Sleep. I think the performances in this movie carry it because the plot is already good, the concept's great, but Ewan McGregor as Danny Torrance and I can't remember Rose the Hat's actress's name off the top of my head, but she is amazing as well. One of the best female horror villains that I can remember. I mean, I considered her for my top 30 horror villains list. She is amazing as this villain. She's so you feel allured by her and like drawn to her, but also she's like clearly a twisted psychotic person who's willing to kill kids to stay alive. So I think Doctor Sleep is an amazing movie. It also has some themes about like parental abuse and alcoholism. So I think Doctor Sleep is amazing. But unfortunately, I like 11 films better. Just missing out on my top 10, we have my favorite, or one of my favorite slasher films of this decade, and that is You're Next. This has the bonus of having my absolute favorite final girl ever. Like, if you saw my top 30 final girls, or was it top 20? I don't remember. But either way, if you saw that list, you'll know that Erin was my number one. It used to be Ginny from Friday the 13th Part 2, and then it was Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, and they're still great. They're probably my number 2 and 3, but she is unmatched, okay? She is the ultimate badass. Like, between her and Ripley for the most badass final girls, like, she mops the floor with everybody in this movie. Everybody who is killed in this movie that isn't killed by the killers is killed by Erin. She has like almost the same kill count as the killers in this film because she takes out Wolfface, Lambface, and Tigerface. So that's 3 kills right there. Then she takes out the 2 brothers and the girlfriend, and then she accidentally kills the cop in the end. So that is 7 kills from the protagonist. She mops the floor with every single killer in this movie, and it is so entertaining to watch. She is the highlight of this film. It's one of my favorite slasher films of all time, and she is my favorite final girl of all time, and it's my number 11 film of the 2010s. Starting off our top 10 is a film that I did not know where it was going to end up on the list. I knew it was going to make the list, but I didn't know it was going to climb to my top 10 until it did. Number 10, I have Evil Dead 2013. This is one of my favorite remakes of all time. I think it is genuinely just one of the best pivots I've ever seen for a franchise because the original run of movies were a bit slapstick, a bit goofy. Like, they had their gory, scary moments, but they were mainly like slapstick comedy. And that's just not my thing. That's not my thing. And then I got to the remake, and they decide, you know what? No more comedy. Full horror, full scary, full gore, just gnarly, insane kills, and just full scares. And that is exactly what I wanted, because this movie is my favorite of the Evil Dead series by a long shot. The gore in this movie is amazing. The scene at the end where she shoves the chainsaw through the Deadite's face and just rips it in half. Oh my god, such an amazing final act of this film, and not to mention it's raining blood. But also, you get Mia, who's a fantastic final girl. She starts off being the one possessed by the Deadites, and then eventually gets cured, and then is the one to kick a whole bunch of ass in the end. So, I love Evil Dead. It's my favorite Evil Dead movie, and my number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have the scariest film of all time, in my opinion. I've seen some people starting to be like, no, it's actually not that scary. You guys are just a bunch of pussies. No, it is. It's that scary. And when people ask me, hey, what's the scariest film of all time? I will always tell you it's Sinister. Sinister, for me, like, it's a very basic plot. A guy finds some tapes in his attic, and there's people getting killed on him. And he watches them, and the tapes are terrifying, and the jump scares are terrifying, and Bagul is terrifying. It has some amazing scares in here. I mean, the lawnmower jump scare is one of my favorite in all of horror history. It's so great. Some of the tapes he finds are genuinely horrific to watch. The whole family dynamic that goes on between this movie, where they're kind of slowly falling apart over the course of the film until you reach the end, where the daughter kills everybody. It's a very bleak movie, very dark, but it's, like I said, the scariest film of all time, in my opinion. So I've always respected the hell out of it for that. Won't rewatch it all that often because, like I said, it is very scary, but it's on my top 10. Coming in at number 8, we have Ready or Not. I have not seen Ready or Not 2 yet. I just wanted to say that because a lot of people are wondering what my thoughts were on it. I haven't seen it yet. I missed it in theaters. I just bought it on Blu-ray, so I'll tell you what it is when I watch it, but I have not seen that yet. But the original Ready or Not is amazing. Like I said, Samara Weaving makes the movie better. I love her. But also the entire rest of the cast is absolutely amazing in here. I think this is one of the few horror comedies that absolutely crushes the perfect blend of horror and comedy. It is 50% horror, 50% comedy, and it's mixed in perfectly. I think all the characters are hilarious in their own right. The performances are amazing, fantastic. The concept's great. It's very a simple concept that starts to go off the rails towards the end as it becomes supernatural. So, Ready or Not is one of my favorite films of recent year. And what was it, number 8 on my top 10? It's great. Coming in at number 7, like I said, it would be on the list, and yes, it is higher than The Conjuring 2 right now, but it is the original Conjuring. I don't rewatch films all that often. I don't. Like, if I rewatch a movie, it has to be like one of my absolute favorites. And I've rewatched The Conjuring numerous times because I absolutely love it. I love Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson's relationship as the Warrens. Obviously, like I said, they shine more in part 2, but they're still pretty damn amazing in the original Conjuring. I think Bathsheba is a terrifying villain and has some very terrifying scares when she appears on top of the closet with the hide and clap scene. I think she is genuinely terrifying. This is one of the scariest films of all time for me. Not as scary as Sinister, but still pretty damn scary. There's a lot of great scares in here, a lot of great characters, a lot of great performances. So, yeah, I've always loved The Conjuring. It's a modern horror classic. Coming in at number 6, we have the next Paranormal Activity film on the list, and that is Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones. This is technically a spin-off of the Paranormal Activity series, but I always just consider it part 5 because it's actually really, really connected to the rest of the series. I mean, at the end, they literally walk in on the ending of the original Paranormal Activity, which is a fantastic ending, by the way, when they reveal that it's time travel, and they literally walk into the ending of the original film with Katie and Mika there and everything. Fantastic ending, especially if you're a fan of the series. Amazing. But I think this movie is a really well-needed change of pace for the franchise because up to this point, it's been essentially the same thing for 4 movies straight, which I'm not complaining because I love the first 4 movies. But this is a really well-needed change of pace because it goes for a completely different style, completely different location, completely different story, and tells a whole original new thing. But it adds in a lot more humor. I think this is probably the funniest Paranormal Activity film, and it's probably the most creative as well. Obviously, it's not my favorite because the original is my favorite film of all time, but I still absolutely love this movie, and you really, really care about the characters, so it's going to be number 6. And I wanted to put it in my top 5, but unfortunately my top 5 are some of my favorite films ever, so I had to put it here. Color me impressed! We got another Netflix original at my number 5. This film is one that I think a lot of people need to discover. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it because it's on Netflix and everybody loves Netflix, but I think more people need to discover it because, especially nowadays, this shit is extremely realistic and extremely prescient. Number 5, we have Cam. This movie is about a cam girl who gets her job stolen by AI pretending to be her. And it's like recreating her streams and doing it for her. So the entire film is her trying to figure out, like, is this a doppelganger? Is somebody like piecing together my old streams? Is somebody hacking me? I don't know. And eventually it reveals that it's just AI. But I really, really like this film. I love the ending. It's one of my favorites in all of horror, where she is going head to head with the AI, trying to get the viewers to like her over the AI, and it ends with her smashing her nose open on the table, which is just a sick. Oh, it's such a gnarly effect, and I love it. It's very scary because it's very realistic. It's another one of those movies where it's like the internet can be really scary and AI is terrifying. So I really, really like Cam. And I wish I could put it higher, but like I said, this was the hardest list I had to make. So unfortunately, it's dropping here at number 5. We got 4 more better. Number 4, another Paranormal Activity film. I'll keep this one short. We have Paranormal Activity 3. This is my second favorite Paranormal Activity film behind the original, because I think this one does the best at capturing the magic of the original film while also adding in enough creative new things into it. It adds in a lot of new and interesting things. Like it adds in the fan camera where he puts it on the fan and it kind of motions back and forth. Because every time it pans over, you expect it to pan back over and there to be like a scary face here or something, and there never is. It just keeps you on the edge of the seat. You're on the edge of your seat the entire time, kind of like the original film did. So I really like Paranormal Activity 3. I think it is by far the second best of the series. Not disrespecting the rest of the series. I love it. Paranormal Activity 3 is my favorite sequel. Starting off our top 3, all 3 of these films are in my top 10 horror films of all time. Starting off with our third place movie, we have The Babadook. This is another one that has genuinely scared me. Like when people talk about like, oh, which horror villain do you think is the scariest? It's not Chucky, it's not Freddy, it's none of that. I'd probably say The Babadook because he's terrifying. Just the guttural noises he makes, all of the sounds that come out of him are just so horrific. And sometimes you don't even see him. Just the way you hear his noises, it's just so, it leaves it up to the imagination, which is almost worse because your imagination can be a bitch when it doesn't know what it's hearing. And The Babadook is just absolutely terrifying. It's a story about grief and a mother trying to be the mother of a kid who is probably the most hated kid in all of cinema he is annoying as hell, and you feel like you're losing your mind having to listen to this kid as the mom loses her mind listening to this kid. Babadook is it's probably my 10th favorite horror film of all time. I love it. It's amazing. It had to make my top 3. Coming in at number 2. This hurts because my number 2 is my third favorite horror movie ever. Hereditary. I've said it once, I'll say it again. If I were to pick a horror film closest to being perfect, it'd be Hereditary. Hereditary manages to make you shit your pants in fear, bawl your eyes out with emotion, and just make you feel uncomfortable. I don't know what the other emotion is in here. Confusion, maybe, because it is a insane movie. It is terrifying. The emotion is amazing. Toni Collette should have won an Oscar for this movie, goddammit. She is amazing. She puts in a performance of a lifetime in here. I think all the performances in this movie are great, but her especially, she's amazing. I think the scene in the car is one of the best horror sequences I have seen in the last 10 years. It's amazing. It's depressing. It's terrifying. My number 2 is Hereditary. But my number 1, as I'm sure most of you guys guessed, I used to say it was my favorite film of all time. It's now my second favorite film of all time. But we talked about my favorite film of all time in the last video. So my number 2 film of all time and my number 1 of the 2010s is It 2017. This is the film that really kicked me in the ass into the horror fandom, because up to this point, I'd seen A Nightmare on Elm Street, I'd seen Child's Play, I'd seen Gremlins, Jaws, stuff like that kind of got me into horror, but this was the one that put me into the horror fandom, because I realized how big of a fan club this movie had, and so that holds a special place in my heart for that, but also because I love the characters so goddamn much. The Losers Club are some of my favorite horror characters of all time. Pennywise is one of my favorite horror villains of all time. He's terrifying. I think the opening scene is amazing. I think the projector scene in the garage is terrifying. Yeah, it's one of my favorite films of all time for a reason. It's amazing. I've talked about it so many times on this channel that you're probably sick and tired of it. But here, I'm talking about it one more time. It's my favorite horror film of the 2010s. And that is going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. So I want to see more videos like it in the future. Make sure to hit the bell notification to be notified when I post any brand new videos. Comment down below some more video ideas for me or your own top 30 horror movies of the 2010s, or maybe just your top 10, top 5, or your thoughts on my list. I'll try to reply to as many people as possible. Stay tuned for the final video in this series, the 2020s. I know we're only 6 years through it, but we got a lot of movies to go through, and enough to make a top 30 because there's a lot of good ones. So stay tuned for that, and until next time, I'm Ethan Horror. This has been Ethan Horror.